It's about 25 minutes on to the hour of 7 o'clock in the morning time. It's the sound of classic. Yes, coupled with a hot weather sister station, Hot 98. Did I ever say to you that you're my hero? When was the last time somebody said that to you, or you actually bestowed those words upon somebody? Prior to that, we had waking up singing glory hallelujah in the morning time. That's what we're doing today, because it is Wednesday. It's the 20th day of the month of January. It's another great day to be alive, and say good morning to you wherever you are. A wet day in the nation's capital, but inside there's a spirit that warms us, a spirit that gives us life, a spirit that says to us, we can do all things through Christ who strengthens us. As we go through the demands and asking of this day, we say good morning and welcome to those of you that is online at www.gbn.gd, via our Facebook page, via YouTube channel, GBN channel 7, 9, 11, 20 if you're in cable, and those of you that's locked in on Hot 98. It's a wonderful day. I'm telling you this. You don't have to believe me. Today is special in more ways than one. The fact that you're alive, it is special enough. And today I want you to keep track of what's happening across the globe, because it's Inauguration Day in the U.S. I'm hoping that you keep today in mind that 10 years from now, 20 years from now, when you're asked, where were you when the 46th president of the United States was being sworn in? What were you doing on that day? I hope history would count you in as one of those who remembered what it is. But aside of that, there's a lot that's happening here at home. We cut you to keep track of the nation's children as they get ready to go out this morning. Remember, sanitization, wearing of the mask, the protocol, the social distancing, all of those things must become part of your daily arsenal as you go up and about on your day's business. Well, every day we try to encourage each other with some words of the day, thoughts of the day, and sometimes I try to stick to one, but then you realize, no. But even before we get to the thought of the day, I'm going to give you the word of the day. What is the word of the day? So the word of the day for today is a verb. It is a verb, and I'll tell you what the definition is, and maybe you can beat me to it. So by definition, today's word of the day, which is a verb, it is defined as to arrive at, or deduce, or surmise. Yes. To form a supposition or inference. Today's word of the day is conjecture, and it is spelled CONJECTURE, and it is to arrive at or deduce. How do you use it in a sentence? Well, some scientists have conjectured that Jupiter's moon Europa can sustain life. I'm not sure if you heard that. If you have plans on going there, no, count me out of that one. The word for today, the 20th day of January, conjecture, and it is defined as to arrive at or deduce, and it is a verb, to form a supposition or inference. And used in a sentence, some scientists have conjectured that Jupiter's moon Europa could sustain life. I'm staying on planet Earth. I'm quite good where I'm at. Let's just look into the thought of the day. Well, one of them, here's one, and you would never little way. This is a nice little snuggly one that makes you kind of chuckle a bit. A child can teach an adult 3 things. You never thought of it, did you? 1, they can teach an adult to be happy for no reason. And that's children. They're happy for no reason. To always be busy with something. And to know how to demand with all of your might that which you desire. A child can teach an adult 3 things. To be happy for no reason whatsoever. To always be busy with something. And to know how to demand with all his might that which his heart desires. Maybe every now and again we have to reduce ourselves to the position of a child, that we can be happy for no obvious reason. I am happy today just because. I am happy today because I'm alive. I'm grateful for being here, and that's why I'm happy. And always be busy. Very often we find ourselves into as little nobodies. You ever notice a little child? You put them sitting there, and they just in their own little world. They laughing, they smiling, they're playing, as though it's nobody's business. And then when they want something, God forbid, when they get to the part of throwing the temper tantrum, then it changes the dimension. But when they want something, they would come and cuddle you and hug you and kiss you. Mommy, Daddy, I love you. You have to get to that element to go after that which you desire in this life. 21 minutes on to the hour of the 7 o'clock in the morning time. Now, another thought of the day. Sorry. Sorry works when a mistake is made, but not when trust is broken. Sorry works when a mistake is made, but not when trust is broken. So in life, make mistakes, but never break a trust, because forgiving is easy, but forgetting and trusting again is sometimes impossible. It is okay to make mistakes, but you need to try your utmost best, because trust, when it is broken, it doesn't matter how much times you say, I'm sorry. You can forgive, it is easy sometimes, but forgetting and trusting again is sometimes impossible. And for just in case, that one didn't quite appeal to you, let's see, as we keep our eyes on the clock, what's happening today? I lost that page there, and I'm going to get it right now. What is making history today, this day in history? Well, let us see as we go through the day. Well, this day in history today, well, Edward II of England is deposed by his eldest son, Edward III. That happened back in 1327 on this day in history. Well, back in 1783, well, Britain signed a peace agreement with France and Spain, who were allied against it in the American War of Independence. Back in this day, in 1941, Hitler met with Mussolini and offered aid to Albania and Greece. It happened back on this day. Let's see, fast forward what's happening on this day. Over 22,000 anti-communist prisoners are turned over to the UN forces in Korea. On this day, back in 1977, and here's the reason why you would remember it, because back in 1977, on this day, President Jimmy Carter is sworn in and then surprised the nation as he walked from the U.S. Capitol to the White House. That happened back in 1977. And in 1981, Ronald Reagan is sworn in as the president at this time, where 52 American hostages were released from their captors in Tehran. Just a few things that happened back on this day years ago. And you'll remember it from years to come. Though on this day also, President Joe Biden became the 46th president of the United States. And Kamala Harris, she became the first female VP of the great United States. History in a whole lot of ways. And then you'll probably remember who was the 45th president, and then you'll remember who was the 44th, if you can do the math. So if Biden is the 46th, then Trump was the 45th, and then Obama was the, we can do that. History is going to recount it. What's the plan for the morning? Here's what I can say to you. The morning edition comes up in just a bit on radio. That's in the wait. For those of you listening to television, we send you back to Studio Control, where you're going to get a rebroadcast of the top stories from the last evening. Then we're going to come back on the other side of the clock. We're going to do the birthday celebration, have ourselves some fun. Then we're going to have a nice cozy conversation this morning. Some say with everything that's happening in the U.S., that it is the end of one dispensation, the start of another. Some have argued it is the end of the U.S. as you know it, as they look back at the Trump presidency and everything that transpired during that period. What say you as we look forward to the next 4 years under President Joe Biden? Of course, you know what happens. Everything that happens in the U.S., it affects us one way or the other, and it's important that we stay connected. We're going to get your thoughts. What's happening in the U.S. and everything? How do you feel about it? But in the meantime, the morning edition comes up next, right here on Classic 105.5, 105.9, our sister station Hot 98, and those of you that's locked in TV land via Facebook, our website, and all other platforms. We'll be right back on the other side of the clock. Have a great day.
You know what time it is? You guessed right, it's detox time again. At Nirvana Natural Health Clinic, Detox Center and Natural Health Store. Purchase our 7-day cleansing pack for only $500. Includes everything you need for a complete total body cleanse. Cleanse your blood, kidney, liver, and colon. This cleanse will help you lighten up and get rid of the excess. Also available are our special product Detox Combo Pack for only $100. Try our single detox products starting from $40. Check us out now. Belmont St. George's, close to the Fall Edge area, or call us on 231-6642, 449-7753, or 418-7115. Nirvana Natural Health Clinic, Detox Center, and Natural Health Store. Detox, your way to health.
Total is one of the world's largest oil companies with a top quality line of lubricants. Total Lubricants has a full product line from passenger cars, motorcycle, heavy industrial equipment, mining, trucking, agriculture, and manufacturing machines and vehicles. Total Lubricants, winning championships in motorsports, including Formula One and World Rally Championships. Total Lubricants are available at all Rubis service stations, leading automotive shops, and distributed by Huggins.
Are medical doctors employed by the government of Grenada engaged in private practice within the walls of the General Hospital? While medical services are offered to Grenadians free in most cases and for minimal fees depending on the severity of the issue, reports are circulating of what could equate to shady dealings in the provision of medical services. We get more in this report.
Public concerns are being voiced about some practices taking place at the General Hospital involving medical doctors. There are claims that patients are made to pay exorbitant hospital fees to conduct surgeries at the General Hospital. One case reported is that a patient was allegedly charged $15,000 for a surgery to be paid to the doctor for the procedure undertaken at the General Hospital using hospital equipment. In an exclusive interview with Health Minister Nicholas Steele on Tuesday, he was asked if government is aware of this type of practice and if this is an acceptable one. Minister Steele says he is unaware of such practice taking place at the hospital, but explained what might be possible.
There is a surgeon that has private practice, and they are. And the individual who goes to them and the request is made to the General Hospital, then whatever private arrangements were there in the beginning remain. But if the individual came to the General Hospital and accessed the services of that specialist from the General Hospital, then it is not appropriate for the specialist to charge. With any specific doctor, so that is the policy of the government of Grenada, not specific to neurosurgery or any other surgery. It is a general practice that if you access a specialist through the General Hospital, then all of the care from that specialist administered at the General Hospital is at the government rates, and there should not be any private charge.
The minister explained what a person should do should they be faced with such an encounter.
That has no let the hospital administrator, no director of hospital services or the medical director or the permanent secretary of the Ministry of Health or myself, and I will pass the information on and make sure that it is dealt with appropriately.
Question was put to Minister with responsibility for hospital services, Honorable Delma Thomas, who told GBN she is unaware of this and therefore is unable to say if this is normal or abnormal practice within the hospital. She told GBN she must first inquire to determine the facts of this matter. Christina John, GBN News.
Minister for Infrastructure Nolan Cox says it was a clear attempt by one contractor to brand the ministry in a bad light. He rebuked the move to leave vegetable vendors without a cover over their heads as unnecessary. Christina John has the latest update to this story.
Minister for Infrastructure Nolan Cox expressed disappointment in actions taken by Blue Bubbles, the contracted company for providing tents, tables and chairs for vendors. On Monday, vendors at the Kirana James Athletic Stadium location turned to the media to voice their dissatisfaction as tents were dismantled and taken away from them, leaving them unhappy. During this morning's post-cabinet briefing, Minister Cox responded to the issue, saying the matter was resolved.
We are very disappointed about that, but we are happy to indicate that the tents are back up. By this morning, the tents were back up, and so that matter is resolved to some extent. We have extended apologies to the vendors for that inconvenience that was meted out to them at no fault to them, and I'm hoping sometime this afternoon myself and the Minister of Agriculture will pay a visit on the site to have a more in-depth discussion with the vendors to ensure that this matter does not reoccur going forward in the future.
The Infrastructure Minister explained that Blue Bubbles was contracted back in April last year to provide the service by the Ministry of Agriculture. However, due to the heavy cost of the service, the Ministry of Agriculture could not continue with the contract, which was taken up by the Ministry of Infrastructure. According to Minister Cox, the services of another company was sought, which was cheaper than the present one used. Minister Cox says it was within the contractor's right to do so, but believes this could have been handled more amicably.
The current contractor, while his contract was coming to an end, it appears that he probably was not happy that the decision was taken to not continue with him. As such, it appears that there was a deliberate attempt to create some discomfort for the vendors and to create some embarrassment for government, because the tents were removed while the vendors were using it. That is what it appears to us as government, and we are very disappointed.
It is the new contractor hired by the ministry. GBN revisited the vendors on Tuesday and was told that they are quite satisfied with the prompt action taken by the ministry.
Today, you all heard our plight as to what was happening to us, but on the prompt action of the ministry, the lady in the ministry, Ms. Thomas, she came and the WAGITI was called, and immediately tents was replaced, even tables. So we are much happier than yesterday.
GBN also contacted Blue Bubbles. We were told that since another ministry took over the responsibility, that all the tents was not necessary. Instructions were given to remove the 4 larger tents, leaving the smaller ones in place. Providing an update on the market project, Minister Cox says work is progressing quite smoothly and they are on schedule. All materials necessary are on island, and the project should be complete by the first quarter of this year. Christelina John, GBN News.
President General of the Technical and Allied Workers Union, Andre Lewis, says government's proposal to public workers unions to defer a 4% salary increase is just a ploy by the Keith Mitchell ruling administration to stall until closer to the next general election. This according to a call-in guest to GBN's Beyond the Headlines program Monday night. Lewis, who represents trade unions in the Senate, said government's excuse to not send a cadre of teachers to the T.A. Marisho Community College, citing cash shortage, is a setup, while pushing Imanis to fill certain positions is all part of government's ploy to put in place replacement teachers.
Colleagues there who are public officers may not be aware of this. Take this from my brother. We have walked that road before. They are creating a second batch of workers, teachers, that they can turn to in the event of industrial action in the future. Note that. I have seen that. Secondly, the deferral by government, I'm putting on the table. They have seen an opportunity where they can use COVID-19 to get a deferral and pay a massive back pay closer to election to get votes. I want to put this on the table. Think about it. Remember, negotiations, comrades. The government wanted to extend the 3-year negotiating cycle to a 4-year, up to 2022. Now, we know that election is constitutionally due in early part of 2023. Now, I know my colleagues in the public servants, the PSs can't address that, and this is not for you. The public officers, I thank you for the work that you have done. But this year is about strategy and tactics.
Lewis further strengthened his point by urging his colleagues to decline government deferral proposal, as government, he says, can find the money to pay teachers their 4% salary increase. COVID-19 continues to adversely affect local businesses, with an ultimatum seemingly looming over their heads in 2021. The current state of emergency and curfew in effect since December has further crippled the local entertainment industry and nightlife. An already cash-strapped government may again be called for another bailout in terms of income support for employees and financial support to businesses. Gerard Joseph has been speaking to the senator representing the private sector.
The situation has gotten worse to the point of companies facing liquidation as high debt loads continue to severely affect businesses. Private sector Senator Christopher Diali says this is especially so for companies within the tourism industry as well as the entertainment industry.
So there is going to be a significant outfall or fallout by June of this year if some of these issues are not addressed. So I know the Chamber and the GHTA is going to try and do a joint paper and approach the government to see what assistance can be garnered for these companies that are facing these dire issues.
Senator Diali says there are varying degrees of effect by the pandemic on businesses over the last year. However, primarily the hotel and accommodation sector are top on the list.
Some businesses are more severely affected than others. So the tourism sector will be more severely affected and more acutely in a position where they may not survive beyond June. Other businesses, the relative impact may be slightly different because of the nature of the business, but certainly the entertainment business, the accommodation sector business associated with SGU, and based on when SGU comes back into play, will be affected, and the indirect businesses that they support, so rental agencies and so on, supermarket businesses to some extent.
Nightclubs and restaurants have witnessed a drastic decline in business, having to shut down or operate within curfew hours. Senator Diali impresses the closure of businesses will automatically affect unemployment and potential social issues.
We have to have all our heads come together and see what can work and what cannot work and what we could do and to help us preserve what we have. And this is about protecting livelihoods as much as protecting lives. So it's a matter of seeing how we can get the right balance with the assistance of government. So it's not that all of us have the answers. It is about all of us coming together and seeing how we could come to some sort of place where we could come up with some level of solutions to the issues that we face.
Hardware and retail businesses, he notes, have been performing relatively well, benefiting from the construction industry. Government has already indicated in late 2020 that it was no longer in a position to continue providing a stimulus package to companies or individuals directly impacted by the COVID-19 pandemic. Government has extended a state of emergency which began on July 11th to end on July 14th. A 10 p.m. to 5 a.m. curfew remains in effect. I am Gerard Joseph for GBN News.
Today is today's canine hero. The little pup is the nose behind the unearthing of the human remains on Tuesday in the Mardi Gras area. Beverly Telesford was on the scene and filed this report.
God sent you, said the daughter of missing woman Cecilia Mungo to the puppy that discovered the human remains at Mardi Gras St. George on Tuesday. Karen Mungo was called to the scene by police officers after the discovery as a means of identifying any particulars that may belong to the missing woman. However, it remains unknown whether the remains match that of her mother. Just after 1 p.m., police received a report from Mardi Gras resident Ian Julian, the owner of the dog, after the animal discovered the bones of a human body in the bushes where he went to tie out his sheep. Julian said he was just thinking about training the pup to hunt when the discovery was made.
I went and see about my sheep, and after coming from seeing about the sheep, I realized it's a nice little dog, he will hunt. So I decided now to get a little run in the bush. And while we go across going up the hill now, I see he end up leaving, and he run in front of me, and he stand. So I say, what are you looking at? What you see there? And he stand up and he looking at me. So on the way looking at me now, I do something and I look at it and I realize, well, Walk down, when I walk down, I find I see something strange. When I look, I realize I see a head. So then I say, no man, I say it had to be a body. So the first thing come to me is Tandu that was missing for a year and how much, 12 days now. Yeah, so the same time when I saw it, I realized, I said, no, I have to go and report it. So I came down the same time and I say, well, I jumped my car and I say, well, I'm going to report it. So I made a report. So I'm going to give a statement now to the police.
Several lawmen, including members of the Criminal Investigation Department and a pathologist, were on the scene when GBN arrived. Forensic evidence was collected, which may suggest or confirm the identity of the remains. The question remains whether or not the RGPF should commission a canine unit for events such as these. For GBN News, Beverly Telesford.
The government of Grenada says all the necessary preparations are in place to assist citizens of neighboring St. Vincent and the Grenadines if needed, as authorities continue to monitor the intensified volcanic eruption on the island. Rena Pear spoke to Minister Steele, who says they are ready to help.
Grenada continues to keep a close eye on neighboring St. Vincent and the Grenadines as they experience increased volcanic activities on the island. Scientists have intensified their observations and have sent out teams via helicopter to monitor the activities. In recent days, panic struck as residents in the villages on the western flank of La Soufrière observed a glow coming from the summit of the volcano. Scientists explained that the ongoing eruption has resulted in the creation of a dome, which is made up of a very hot material that would naturally give off a glow. The incandescence is not visible during the day due to the brightness of the sun, but is visible at night since there are no other sources of light. Minister for Health, Nicholas Steele, says the government of Grenada is in constant contact with the authorities in St. Vincent and is ready and able to assist the island if the need arises.
Our National Emergency Management entity has been speaking with theirs as well as with Cadore. We have been monitoring the situation. COVID-19 poses a challenge in almost all aspects of our life, but does not make it impossible for us to be our brother's keeper and to be there for our brothers and sisters in St. Vincent and the Grenadines. We also would like to recognize that on top of the various challenges that they would have, like us and most of the world with COVID-19, they're also facing this challenge with their volcano or the threat. And as such, they are even more in our thoughts and prayers, and we are here should the need arise.
The government of Grenada, in collaboration with St. George's University, agreed to make available up to 2,000 beds on the campus should an eruption of the volcano create the need of Vincentians to evacuate. The health minister explained that COVID-19 protocols have already been established in SGU in case of an evacuation.
There have been discussions and protocols on a broad basis have been discussed. So should the need arise, we would be able to very quickly operationalize something like that. It is our sincere hope, based on the location of the volcano, that individuals could be relocated within St. Vincent. But should the need arise, we would be ready to stand as a neighbor to the south to assist St. Vincent and the Grenadines, as we have in any of the times in the past that they have gone through challenges.
Director of the UE Seismic Research Center, Ursula Joseph, says that the current eruption is an effusive one. This means that lava is steadily flowing out of the volcano. She said even if the eruption worsens into an explosive one, most of the hazard will be localized to St. Vincent, and that Grenada and other neighboring islands may only experience the effects of ashes in the atmosphere.
If the eruption in St. Vincent becomes explosive, the likely or the possible impact to neighboring islands may be in the form of ash that may be transported in the wind currents. So, and of course the implications of this is that aircrafts, flying in the region can be impacted.
The volcano activity at La Soufrière started late last month. For GBN News, I am Rina Pear reporting.
Minister responsible for hospital services, Honorable Delma Thomas, clears the air on allegations that a resident of the Mount Gay Mental Facility has been raped and allegedly impregnated by members of staff. We have details in this report.
2 male members of staff at the Mongay Psychiatric Hospital are presently being investigated for alleged sexual assault or rape on a patient. Reports are that the young female patient has been placed at the facility for more than a year. According to reports, she expressed her discomfort being at the institution and asked to be removed. However, up to news time, she was still warded at the facility. GBN contacted Minister with responsibility for hospital services, Honorable Delma Thomas, on Tuesday, who indicated that the 2 individuals are presently on leave, while the Public Service Commission deliberates on the next course of action.
I heard of that information in December. We got the report. I spoke with Commissioner in December. From December, the police has been investigating. On the 29th of December, the police sent their report. We got it in the ministry, not to our ministry, they sent it to another ministry, but it came to us on the 12th of January. Investigation is ongoing, and while we wait on the Public Service Commission to guide on the next step, because we now have a report from the police, then it means that it is the best thing to do. If there's an active investigation, then you do not leave the people on the workplace. And remember, you are innocent until proven guilty.
Preliminary information reaching our news desk stated that the young lady was impregnated as a result of the alleged rape. However, further probe revealed that this is not so. GBN understands the alleged victim was placed within the institution, but not for medical purposes.
So that was reported, they said that the person is pregnant. However, when Commissioner called me yesterday, he said that when they were investigating and the family went to the doctor, the mother went to the doctor, they did a pregnancy test and whatever, and there was no pregnancy. So that needs to be clarified, that there isn't a pregnancy. But as we speak, the young lady is in Mongay.
A plea goes out to relatives to render assistance to the young lady who needs their support. Christina John, GBN News.
With the recent increase in sharks in the Caribbean Sea and sightings reported near a number of neighboring islands, concerns have been raised over the reason for the noticeable increase in the shark population, the safety of the water, and in some cases, the preservation of said sharks. More in this report.
In the Caribbean, shark populations have been decimated along a number of fronts. Loss of reef habitat and health has driven shark decline, hence the surprise and concern in the increase in shark sightings once again in our waters. What does this mean for the marine environment? Coordinator of Marine Protected Areas at Grenada Fisheries Division, Orlando Harvey, explains.
Sharks are critically important to the marine environment in general. The recent discussions about the number of sharks within the region is actually, it was a little bit surprising for me. In general, an increase in sharks in the marine environment is typically a good thing, because sharks are important in keeping the health of the ecosystem with regard to unhealthy fish being there. They're essentially the cleaners of the ocean. So if there's a sick or unhealthy fish, typically the sharks would be the ones who take it out, any one of those apex predators. So an increase in shark is not necessarily a bad thing. Actually, in my case, I think it's actually a good thing if we have some more sharks, especially on our reefs, because our reefs need them.
The relationship between underwater volcanoes and sharks was added to the conversation after several social media posts from neighboring islands highlighted that the magnetic fields surrounding volcanoes may have influenced the recent increase. Harvey explained the connection between sharks and volcanoes.
With regard to, I guess, active volcanoes, those are the ones, because magma, once it's just recently released from a volcano, for example, it's very magnetic. And again, there's a lot of studies that indicate that sharks are the magnetic receptors are very acute, so they will tend to find those things or be attracted to them. With regard to, our volcanoes and recent activity within the region, I don't know if there's any connection per se, because no studies have been done, but sharks do have a natural affinity to anything that produces a magnetic or electric field.
The MPA coordinator added that fear or misunderstanding may have a role to play in the lack of concern or capacity to care for the importance of the creatures to our marine environment.
I'm a little bit concerned about that in some regards. As you rightfully said, there's a lot of fear associated with sharks. People who don't interact with the marine environment as much as maybe I do would tend to have maybe a fear of sharks, or if you come in contact with a shark, they think that the only thing a shark can do is kill you. But we've never had, that I could recall, definitely in my lifetime, anyone being severely injured by a shark or even killed by a shark in Grenadian waters. In most of the cases where we have incidences of sharks interacting with persons are typically people who spearfishing and they have blood in the water. They have something that attracts the shark to them, and they may have an encounter with it, but it's never been really severe or life-threatening. So I think there's nothing really for people to be overly concerned or overly fearful of with regards to a typical shark that we would have in our waters. So I'm a little bit concerned that we would have people going out there and actually hunt, actively trying to fish sharks. Grenada doesn't have a fishery for sharks. It's not something that we target. It's not a species we target. We do have some incidental capture where you set a line for something else and you may catch a shark. And in Grenada, we do pretty much land everything we catch, so we do have incidences like those.
For GBN News, Beverly Telesford.
Do you want to win loads of prizes this Christmas with BIP? Join our Spin to Win promotion to win exciting prizes daily. Here's how. Go to the Discover section of the BIP app. Search for the Spin to Win channel and click follow. Once you have followed the channel, click the Spin Now button, choose your device type, select your country, and wait for the wheel to start spinning. Be quick. When your wheel lands on the correct prize of the day, screenshot the prize and send your screenshot to the Spin to Win chat to enter the promotion. Click the Daily Updates button to get updates on the prize you are required to spin for each day, and also to know if you are the lucky winner of the day.
A Merry Christmas, spin and win with Bib.
These have been tough times, and we could all use a helping hand to get through this period. GUT Credit Union gives you the opportunity to do just that without a worry. What are you looking forward to? A relaxing staycation? Brand new appliances or devices? Consolidating your debt to get more money in your pocket? Not a member? No worries. Come in and find out how you too can make the most of this offer. Or visit us today. Yes, you can have a brighter Christmas season with GUT Credit Union. GUT Credit Union. It's where you belong.
Idea of an ecotourism project by one farmer on the western side of the island has shown some promise and has caught the attention of the Ministry of Agriculture. Officials from the ministry did a walkthrough with the farmer, offering their recommendations. Rena Pear tells us more.
Owner of Bookage Farms and Trades, Philip David, and his team have occupied the 5-acre plot at Bookage Estate for the last 2.5 years. David believes that this idea of ecotourism and a botanical garden effect can put a new perspective on farming.
But also to have a productive botanical garden where we'll be producing for markets, marketing board, local consumption, internal consumption, and for visitors coming here too.
David has confidence that his idea cannot become a reality without the expert advice of technicians from the Ministry of Agriculture. Recently, an 8-member team did a walkthrough of the farm at Bernays and Mark to seek out the practicality of the idea. According to David, the plan is to have a total organic farm with a variety of fruits.
I'm developing new strains of existing plants. For instance, we have dragon fruits, we have sorrel, we have about 4 or 5 different types of mangoes, we have 4 different types of oranges, we have 3 different types of grapefruits, things like that. We also have grapes here, red and the green grapes. We have all sorts, Bajan cherries, etc., etc., etc. So we want our visitors to come here, sample the fruits, sample the products in the land, and then also sample the cooked version of these fruit, because we'll be cooking on site also, so they can actually literally choose their meals, choose their salads, things like that, pick it off the trees and bring it in and produce it from there, and they actually, so they're eating farm to table basically.
Acting Chief Land Use Officer Trevor Thompson offered his observation and recommendation going forward.
The area was abandoned for a number of years. So the present crops that are cultivated, most of them are in very poor condition, especially the cocoa. Very poor drainage, so we have a lot of waterlogging. So that definitely needs to be rehabilitated. Now he has to begin to really look at what we call an agricultural farm plan to see how he wants to recultivate the land so that it is done in a systematic manner. But I think he has a good vision for the 5 acres, and I think in 5 years' time, you come back here, it will be transformed.
David is one of the many farmers who received the technical advice and support from the Ministry of Agriculture. For GBN News, I am Rina Pear reporting.
Do you know what time it is? You guessed right, it's detox time again. At Nirvana Natural Health Clinic, Detox Center and Natural Health Store. Purchase our 7-day cleansing pack for only $500. Includes everything you need for a complete total body cleanse. Cleanse your blood, kidney, liver, and colon. This cleanse will help you lighten up and get rid of the excess. Also available are our special product Detox Combo Pack for only $100. Try our single detox products starting from $40. Check us out now. Belmont St. George's, close to the Fall Edge area, or call us on 231-6642, 449-7753, or 418-7115. Nirvana Natural Health Clinic, Detox Center, and Natural Health Store. Detox, your way to health.
The National Disaster Management Agency, NADMA, reminds the general public to always be prepared. Make sure you have emergency supplies stocked away just in case. Here is a list to help you and your family. At least 1 gallon of water daily per person for 7 to 10 days. Enough food for at least 3 to 7 days. Non-perishable packaged or canned food and juices. Special items and food for babies and the elderly. Non-electric can opener. Cooking tools and fuel, paper plates, plastic utensils, paper cups, trash bags and duct tape, useful for cleanup or patching leaks in an emergency, blankets, pillows, first aid kit, medicines, prescription drugs, toiletries, hygiene items, moisture wipes, tarpaulin to cover holes if needed, bleach, water purification tablets, flashlight with extra batteries, battery-operated radio, cash, small bills. Banks and ATMs may not be open or available for extended periods. Keys to house and cars, toys, books and games. Important document in a waterproof container or watertight resealable plastic bag. Up-to-date insurance, medical records, bank account numbers. Keep important phone numbers here. You may know them, but a loved one may not. A pocket knife, nails, a hammer and a rope are important elements. Towels and buckets are useful too if you develop a leak. Vehicle fuel, keep tanks filled.
A message from the National Disaster Management Agency, NADMA.
COVID-19 is an infectious disease caused by a new coronavirus introduced to humans for the first time. It is spread from person to person, mainly through the droplets produced when an infected person speaks, coughs, or sneezes. These droplets can land in the mouths or noses of people who are nearby. These droplets are too heavy to travel far in the air. They only travel approximately 1 meter and quickly settle on surfaces. This is the reason person-to-person spread is happening mainly between close contacts. The exact time that the virus can survive on surfaces is not yet known. So it is wise to clean surfaces regularly, particularly in the vicinity of people infected with COVID-19. Hands touch many surfaces, which can be contaminated with the virus. You should therefore avoid touching your eyes, nose, or mouth, since contaminated hands can transfer the virus from the surface to yourself. When coughing or sneezing, cover your mouth and nose with the bend of your elbow or use a disposable tissue. If a tissue is used, discard it immediately into a closed bin. The most effective way to prevent the spread of the new coronavirus is to clean your hands frequently with an alcohol-based hand rub or soap and water. This will eliminate the virus if it is on your hands. Stay healthy and prevent the spread of COVID-19.
It is important to know what your road signs and markings means. The zigzag lines means you should not park in the marked area. Parking is allowed inside the solid white lines on the edge of the road. Remember, look out for pedestrians. Pedestrians, be sure the vehicle comes to a complete stop before crossing. These tips can save your life. These tips can make our roads safer for all users. Be safe, be seen, be smart. A message from the Traffic Department of the Royal Grenada Police Force.
Storm-out careless or intentional bushfires, dead out. Youths, hunters.
Morning time coupled with our sister station Hot 98. You want to say good morning and welcome back to those of you that's locked in with us via that's GBN television channel 7, channel 11, channel 20 if you are on cable. Those of you that's on YouTube, you're probably linked in with us via the World Wide Web at www.gbn.gd. Facebook, and yes, the YouTube channel. 23 minutes gone past the hour in the morning time. It is the 20th day of the month of January. Literally, who would have imagined that? Listen, time waits on no man, and that is why it's important that you spend your time. It should be involved in things, meaningful things, something that makes you happy, something that inspires you to become a better person. It makes you become a better version of yourself. You spend it with friends, families, loved ones, people that surround you. That's going to make you smile. And a lot of people, they're smiling for different reasons. Today, a significant day in the context of what's happening across the globe is the inauguration day and for President-elect Joe Biden and Vice President Kamala Harris. Now, let me give you an appreciation as to how the day is actually going to pan out. There's a number of events that takes place at different points, but the highlight certainly is going to be that at around 12 midday. Let me make sure that I'm scrolling right. So just after 12 p.m. today, Justice Roberts will administer the oath of office. Biden will take the oath with his 127-year-old 5-inch thick family Bible, which will be held by his wife Jill. Now, Kamala Harris, the first woman, the first black, and first South Asian American Vice President, will be sworn in by Justice Sonia Sotomayor, the first Latin member of the Supreme Court. Now, Harris will be sworn in on 2 Bibles, one that belongs to a close friend and she will also be suing on another that belongs to Thurgood Marshall, one of her heroes. Now, after the swearing ceremony, Biden and Harris will take part in a passing review with members of the military. Then Biden and Harris and their spouses will then go to Arlington National Cemetery to lay a wreath at the tomb of the unknown soldiers. The Obamas, the Bushes, and the Clintons will attend in a show of bipartisan unity. The next stop would be the White House, where Joe and Jill Biden and Kamala and Doug Efron, of course, will view the virtual parade across America, right? And in the afternoon, there is the swearing in of 3 new Democratic senators, as in Georgia and others, and that is also going to be followed. There's the after party that happens, certainly. So that's just keep you in the know as to what is expected to take place across the globe, well, in the U.S. really, and would be covered by all the major news networks across the world, as the world sits and wait with bated breath. Comments coming out of the UK. Certainly, they're saying after 4 years, the UK will not have a friend in the White House, and different responses as you would imagine on this auspicious day, a day that would forever be written upon the tablets of our hearts. For those of you who would remember it, because this election period in the US was special, and I want to say special, unique in that while you followed it, this one. As I said, well, this is special because the Donald Trump presidency was no ordinary presidency. Some commentators have always argued that he was not a politician. He was a man with a mission. He was a businessman. And what he saw in the White House was the art of the deal. Some of you may possibly disagree, but certainly for the last 4 years, it has been interesting. His removal from saying to the WHO, you know what, not interested, leave us alone. You're spoiling this thing for us. And of course, removing himself from the the Paris Accord, and a lot of different positions where many commentators would have argued where they expected the U.S. to take a leadership role. It was interesting times, but some have argued that it has left the U.S. with everything. Only recently there was the insurrection that took place that they've argued was incited by the then president, well, still president, Donald Trump. He said, no, it's not my fault. But others have argued whether all of this has literally uncovered is the veil that has been removed to what has been the U.S., the really United States. Some have argued that maybe it's democracy under attack. Others have argued maybe it's the beginning of the end for the U.S. But you know what happens when you start to sneeze in the U.S.? You know what happens here at home and across the region and other parts of the world? You know what happens when we end up catching a cold. Share your thoughts this morning, 435-2041, as we look at this transitionary period. What are your thoughts as to what's happening in the U.S.? Maybe you have spent the last, if not in its entirety, you spent the last couple of years, 4 years, looking at the back and forth, the goings on. You're looking at the legacy of Donald Trump, his presidency. Some have argued, what would his legacy be? But certainly here at home, we understand the impact of what happens in the U.S. COVID alone, by nature of what it is, you have so many families that are so dependent on remittances from the U.S. And it's important as they transition, the U.S. transitions itself into another dimension, that we keep our eyes and our ears peeled on what's happening over there. Classic, good morning, 28 minutes past the hour. Your thoughts, please, on the topic.
Good morning to you, sir.
Good morning, sir.
Good morning to Grenada.
Good morning, sir.
My thoughts on this subject is that I am hoping that we see a change in America. No, because what Donald Trump has done was to destroy what America is noted for.
And what exactly are you referring to? Just if you don't mind me asking.
His attitude and behavior, the way he conducted himself, the way he conducted business in America, in the White House. I think it was not what America, while I don't always like America's policy,
right.
I think Donald Trump has increased and making America's policy too hard to live with.
Okay.
And I honestly hope that he will be prosecuted for it. He should be jailed.
Time will tell.
For his conduct. Thank you.
You're welcome, sir. 435-2041. And that's a number on the inside. Let me check to see what's happening via social media as it is what is here. But certainly Donald Trump, he made history as he became the only president to be impeached twice, while two other presidents have been impeached. Andrew Johnson, yes, and Bill Clinton, they were impeached. But Donald Trump becoming the first one to be impeached twice. Historical by many accounts. Classic, good morning, your life, your thoughts.
Good morning.
Good morning, sir.
How are you?
I am wonderful, thank you.
I wish Joe Biden all the way with his new president. And I wish him, he and Kamala Harris, to do the right work to go back a second term. Have a nice weekend.
Great, thank you. All the best to you. 435-2041. And now it was over the weekend when there was a special award ceremony that was held for Kamala Harris, and she gave her commitment to one of the regional advocates that she would work together with Caribbean countries. And she also alluded to the fact that it was the votes of Caribbean immigrants that helped to change the scope of what has transpired in the U.S. We go back to the telephone lines. Classic, good morning. You're live. Your thoughts, please.
Hi, good morning, Andrew, and to all your followers. And me too, I like to wish America all the best, the new administration. But I think there are strong lessons there for us. It just shows how a first world country can be brought down to the lowest level in such a short space of time, when people choose to follow leaders blindly. You know, people tend to, we have what we call people are voluntarily disabled. They refuse to see, they refuse to hear, and they refuse to use their minds and choose to follow leaders. In America, there are a lot of intelligent, bright people, and when we saw what happened over the last 4 years and climax on the 6th of January, it tells you how quickly a people can fall. And that's a lesson for us in our country. Yeah.
But let me ask you that, I'm asking you objectively, would you see it as a failure, a fall of democracy? Or some say, listen, that is the beauty of it. Democracy, it allows for the expression of the free will of the people. And they're saying, ultimately, that's what America is all about.
Well, it also shows how systems can collapse and how vulnerable systems are. I don't think it hasn't ended, so we cannot say the beauty of it. The seeds that have been sowed, I don't think we'll be able to eradicate them. When you look at intelligent people, religious people, sitting and conspiring to do such evil and to hurt their country, this is nothing to be proud about and happy about. It hasn't ended. It has started. I think it's a start of a major slide in America's leadership in the world, and that's very sad. The world needs a strong America.
Great, thank you very much, sir.
You're most welcome.
435-2041. This person on social media says, Maurice Bishop said, when America catches the cold, we catch pneumonia. It's time countries of the region stop their dependence on the United States. Let's see what else we have there. So we leave that for now. We're keeping our eyes on the clock, though. Reminding you at 15 minutes to the hour is traffic cam. We'll be linked up with Junior Checkley somewhere else up and about. But right now we go back to the telephone lines. Good morning, you're live, your thoughts.
Morning, Joseph.
Good morning, please.
What I think about Mr. President had been removed there, he should be removed long years ago. He should not make the 4 years because he's a president that did not suit the country. He did not do the things what people want him to do. He don't like outsiders. The outsiders go into help save, and they work on the help save the country. They would help them build America. President Trump gets on like a child. He don't get on like a big man. He don't grow up. He wants growing up to be a president. He wants to do the right things. Love the people and do what people ask them to do. Take care of your country. Look out for others. All the crimes and hates and going on in the country did not deserve that. President Trump should move along. The impeachment, he should get about 3.
Okay.
Because he's not a president.
Thank you,
he's
Brian.
a man just know the country and he's there for the people, but he's not for the people. He's only for himself and his descendants. No President Trump and the people out there. He's the devil, Satan. Chase Satan and his descendants.
Thank you very much.
Remove Satan from the world.
Okay.
And if you are the devil, you cannot be a God child. If you're a child of God, you want to be a child of God. I pray for President Biden, Joe Biden, that he will go do what he has to do, and Kamala Harris. They are the two that we want there right now to take care of the country and to look out for the people when they need help. They're always there for them. All the wrong things Trump do is not good. The children that he suffered and locked up in cage like animals. This is not a human being.
Thank you very much.
He's not a human. He's a beast.
Appreciate it. 25 minutes on to the hour in the morning time. The sound of classic, coupled with a sister station, Hot 98. We go right back to the telephone line. Classic, good morning. You are live. Good morning, caller. You're live. 435-2041. Share your thoughts, really and truly. And as it's the exodus, as it is, of one era in American politics and the genesis of another. We go back to the telephone lines. Classic, good morning. You're
Good
alive.
morning, citizen Cadore. Greetings. So many comments I have to make, but before I say give my contribution to this matter, I want to tell you this. There is no 12 p.m. Huh? 12 is meridian. The middle, AM, anti-meridian, PM, prime meridian. Because you can't have, therefore, you can't have 12 AM nor PM. Just an observation. Secondly, today, the 20th of January, 47 years ago, this country was lit up. That is our history. Why should we be dwelling so much on what happens in the United States? What does that have to do with our history? Teach our people our history. Just an observation. Thank you very much.
All the best to you, sir. Much appreciated. 435-20. That's what we like about democracy, isn't it? That we're free to express our positions, whether I agree or disagree. That's what democracy is about. Democracy is always alive and well. Classic, good morning. You're alive. Good morning, caller. You're alive.
Yeah, morning, Joseph.
Yes, go ahead, please.
I agree with the last caller that we should emphasize more for history. Nonetheless, I think today is a hopeful day for the world. And because I remember when this guy, President Trump, was being inaugurated, there was some Grenadian, at least after he got won the election, people were jubilant in Grenada. Some people, and I couldn't understand because this man is everything against what our people really aspire to. Secondly, I don't think people look for patterns. And if they look for patterns, they would see similarity in Grenada. And it's not just in Grenada. There's a reason, and it's unfortunate that we don't have really deep and meaningful conversation in Grenada because you see a pattern, whether it's in Brazil, whether in the Philippines, whether in England, in Hungary, a certain kind of leader that have emerged over the years. And we're not asking ourselves why. And also the fact that trust is something that is a sort of scarce commodity that most people don't trust the government, including here. These are things I think we could really discuss, not in a acrimonious adversarial way, but in a way that we would help to elevate us to a higher level. So I'm hopeful of at least there must be a little change in terms of the atmosphere. And you mentioned earlier on about the remittance. This is something that have affected our families. I don't get remittance, but it affects the behavior of President Trump. Highly affected the relationship between people here and in America because a number of people rely on the remittance from the family, and it became a very expensive. And people need to, when they're supporting situation, they need to understand that they might be even putting a rope around their own neck. Finally, I really hope that we could start a conversation here, looking at kind of leaders we have here.
Thank you very much, sir. Well noted. 435-2041, that is the number on the inside. And certainly while I agree that there is all the need for us to have a deeper appreciation for our own history, our own culture, we cannot live in this closed, this being that closed-minded. As the caller said, whether we accept it or not, our own economy is directly hinged to what happens in the U.S., whether we want to believe it or not. And our own economies, we've seen it during COVID. So, let us just be objective about the conversation. Yes, we need to put greater focus on our own history, what has happened, independence, where we fought, and that conversation is in train. But for today, as it is, we have to be able to recognize what's happening around the world and be able to objectively make some sort of contribution to what may or may not be happening. 435-2041, that is the number on the inside. We have to take a break. We're going to take that final caller here. Classic, good morning, you're alive.
Yes, good morning, Brother Joe, and good job. Susan, good to see you.
All the best to you. Good morning.
Right. In regards to the President-elect Biden being sworn today, and I say congrats to him and Vice President-elect Harris. In the caller before, previously, the one not one, but when we talk about why we discussing American politics and why we discussing St. Vincent politics, remember Nicodemus was a word that was used by a certain prime minister. And look at what happened in the Caribbean, and these are our brothers keepers. So what we need to do is look up to our brother. In other sense, America is a big brother in a sense. England is a bigger brother or a big sister. So when the guy that call and say, why are we studying that? If he wants us to go back to history, I will go back to history when he was on the airport. And
let's not make it personal.
No, but he was there.
Yeah, but let's not make it personal.
Don't go back to that history, because if you want our history, we can go to the airport. He's not a professor in Grenada.
Right.
Stop it.
Okay, sir. 20 minutes on to the hour in the morning time is the sound of Classic 105.5, 105.9. I think we live in a period where we need to be much more open, expansive in the way we think, what we say, what we choose not to say, and understand that the world has become a global village. That what happens here is hinged directly. There were thousands, millions. They've argued that there are more Grenadians living there. There are probably even maybe more or as much as that lives in the diaspora. And these are the same people that's out there, let's say when we have carnival, we beg them to come home, and we see the impact that they have on the economy. We've understand how the relationship between when you have the change of administrations from Obama, when Obama said, listen, you were born here, immigrants. And what is interesting, that America itself was birthed on the back of immigrants. That's what has made America great. And you would think that if you attempted to make America great again, then it has to be that you're going to highlight the work and the sweat and the tears of the immigrants. And then you may even argue, I guess there's something that's going to go there. Who does America really belong to? The immigrants? The Caucasians? Or does it belong to the Red Indians? It doesn't matter. That's a conversation for the historians to worry about. What is it we have to realize is that, at the end of the day, whether we want to accept it or not, our lives, it is fashioned in more ways than one. What happens in economies here in the region and around the world. And of course, we need to be cognizant. We need to have a sense of consciousness, a moral consciousness, to realize, because what may or may not happen, how it can affect us here at home. It's about 18 minutes on to the hour. We take a quick commercial break. When we come back, we leave the telephone lines alone and we go look for the drone in the sky, because Junior Check is somewhere out there with today's traffic cam. Quick commercial break, and we'll be right back.
Get Rubigas. Get cooking. Rubigas, clean, safe, and reliable LPG is the perfect solution for your commercial and everyday needs. For cooking at home or barbecuing, choose Rubigas LPG cylinders. Available in a variety of sizes from 20 to 100 pound cylinders. Rubigas LPG, clean, safe, reliable. Are you cooking with Rubigas? Get Rubis, get going.
How going on, boy?
Hey, good, old things.
Hey, Daisy.
Yeah.
Boy, in line, boy. Your house looking a real good day.
Boy, it's thanks to the hard-working and professional staff at the Housing Authority of Grenada. They handled me real nice. They did my plan, they did the construction, and I didn't even have to worry about a thing. They were there with me every step of the way, supervising the job, asking me about my concerns, giving me feedback as the house took shape. They were there from start to finish, and even put the keys in the palm of my hand. I give them an A++ for customer service.
Oh, it's people from housing bad, boy.
Boy, not bad. Excellent. If you're thinking about constructing your home, why not consult the Housing Authority of Grenada? You could visit them right down in the Sandino complex, or give them a call, 440-1015 or 440-1016. Or check out their website, hag473.com. They go handle you. They go jog your blocks, they go draw your plan, they go tote your materials. Hey man, where you going? The Housing Authority of Grenada is your choice for affordable housing and a stress-free construction experience.
Now we can stay safe while at the same time reducing our budget to maintain a clean and safe environment at our home, school, office, church, or even on the bus. Fortune Foods has gone a long way to source premium products that are at least 30 to 50% less than other brands. That's right, 30 to 50% cheaper than other brands. We have a multi-purpose 80% strength liquid sanitizer for cleaning surfaces that is also safe on hands, as well as 70 to 75% gel sanitizers available in 1 gallon and smaller sizes. Plus, when you buy in bulk, you save even more. Right now, every dollar counts. Be wise. Sanitize with Fortune Foods' range of sanitizing products.
Distributed by Fortune Foods Company Limited, Tempe, St. George's. Telephone 435-2247.
Hot 98 is about 14 minutes until the hour of 8 o'clock in the morning time. 8 o'clock workers, you're either there or right around the corner. And those of you trying to get in there for 9 o'clock, well, preparation should already be on the way. It's a wet day in the nation's capital, folks. It is a wet day on the other, well, weather-wise, but still we hope that the spirit's up. There's something on the inside that urges you, that says the will to go on, that, moving on the greater. Good morning, lady and sir Harris, up there at Mount Moritz. Good morning to you. Hope you're having yourself a really wonderful day. Good morning to you, Helen Elias Raymond. I know you're locked in as per usual. And all of the die-hard locked-in fans, that is on Classic. It is Wednesday, and as per usual, we're expecting to do a link-up with Junior Jack Lee. We're not sure if there is the eye in the sky or the cam on the ground. Not sure which one it is, or maybe it's a combination of both. But either way, we're going to do link-up with Junior Jack Lee, as we do, as we always, on a Wednesday, traffic cam for today, January the 20th. Okay, so we're we're waiting on Junior Jack Lee as soon as we get. He's quite ready for us. I can't see him throwing up drone this morning. I mean, I didn't think Jack Lee all that off his marbles, throwing up drone this morning. I can probably see him cruising maybe with the dashboard cam and doing his due. But the weather report is the traffic cam is going to come in just a while. Master Control, as soon as you're ready, I'll be ready for you. But in the meantime, though, again, we continue to keep ourselves in the know as we monitor what is happening around the world. By the way of information, reminding you that the motor vehicular inspection, that continues. And we remind ourselves that the Ministry of Health, they've launched another campaign, that is intended to grow the sensitivity, literally. And I'm just trying to get the details on it. It's called, so the ministry has launched its Wear Your Mask campaign as part of a COVID-19 prevention effort. So let's just give you some details in case you missed it earlier on. In case you did actually miss it, and let me just, that's when you need things, you just don't get it, do you? Just don't get it, you just don't get it.
We take a journey. We are going down to the airport, taking a travel this morning down to the airport. We are going through Springs to Woodlands. We say good morning to everyone, and just this morning I would like to share some tips, some driving tips from my dad, who drive for over 50 years without an accident. Driving for over 50 years without an accident. And one of the first tip he gave was always check your vehicle before leaving home. Do the routine check of checking the fluid level in your radiator, your brake fluid. Check to see if your brakes is working and your lights is working. So that's the first tip as a driver. In the morning, you check, routine check your vehicles. Check the tires, check the water in the radiator or the coolant in the radiator. Check your brakes and make sure it's working properly before leaving for your destination. So now we're in Woodlands Junction. We are going to catch a flight down at the Morris Bishop International Airport this morning. And as we go, we'll be giving you some tips. And tips number 2, always plan ahead as a driver. The road you're going to take to carry you to your destination. Plan ahead so you can wake and prepare.
So for those of you that's making your way from Wolf Springs, Woodlands, heading down the back road that's woven into Grandad's Valley, which some people use as an alternative route, which for others it is the main route as it is, depending on which direction you are coming from. As it is, while we're broken away from Checkley, it is raining, lots of rain heading into the south of the island, but there's a constant flow, nothing out of the ordinary. There's a free flow of traffic making its way through Springs down into the back road. That's the back road that takes you to heading towards the Distillers direction and into Grandad's Valley, and that takes you into deep south. So as we can see, there's a free flow of traffic, and certainly that is good, but in the same spirit, you want to ensure that you due care and attention. What Checkley was doing before we lost connection with him, he was offering some tips that he says his father would have left with him. His father, who drove for 50 years without an accident. Make sure you check your vehicle before you leave home. Check your oil, check your brakes. Do those inspections. Come on in the morning before you're ready to leave. Maybe you may want to warm up the engine, check to make sure that your tires and everything, there's no necessary flat, and then you are ready for the road. You are ready for the road. And one of the challenges that there's a lot of individuals, to get their license, they follow the highway code to the T, to the letter of the law. And then you get onto the road and you forget your hand signals, you forget that you need to check your mirrors before you move off. You forget all of that. You forget, of course, that you need to give way to the traffic on your right. You forget that you need to give way if you're coming from a minor. Yes, you stop. Don't tell me about you live here. You live here so everybody know you're there. Please. I don't know that you live there. You wait. You stop and you wait because you're coming from a minor into a major. But again, a wet day on the nation's road as you go out, folks. We're keeping our eyes on the clock. Now it's 8 minutes that is, onto the hour of 8 o'clock. I have about 3 minutes left with you. That's the three made its way in there. And certainly want to encourage you, due care and attention, make sure you have the umbrellas, the raincoats. Make sure that the children, if they have not left already, or maybe they left early, and for some reason, maybe by you, it was quite dry, then maybe you probably need to figure out, is it going to rain all day? What are the plans for them to get home? If you can, maybe drop off their rain gears for them. But for those that's home, you still get in there. Maybe you need to purchase an umbrella, depending on where you're working, where their school is. Maybe you have to drop and then take them along to a closer point to their school. All those things must be foremost in your mind. It's always good to have a plan. What is your plan? Think ahead. So I'm heading to Grand Dance. I'm heading into town. I'm going to do business. It is raining. So I'm going to park wherever. Maybe a nice car park. But I need, let's say, to go to Halifax Street. Then, what's the plan? What is the plan? Keep that in mind. If you have your rain gears, your rain boots, all of that, your tall boots, might be a good day to walk with it. Today's definitely not a day for flip-flop and those sort anything that would have your toes out. Ladies, keep that in mind. Well, we're getting ready to wrap up this segment with you in the morning time. Grenada, it's always been a pleasure being here with you in the morning as per usual. Today being Wednesday, I'm going to say my goodbyes to you for now, but at 9 o'clock, I will return on television when we do To The Point. My guest this morning is expected to be the Right Honorable Clarice Modest Cohen. Yes, she's expected to be a guest, and that's the Minister of Tourism. We discuss all things that's related to the tourism sector. Again, keep in mind Inauguration Day in the U.S. Continue to monitor what's happening here at home. The Wear Your Mask campaign, and it is the Protect, Respect, Always Wear Your Mask COVID-19 preventative campaign. The objective is to encourage citizens and visitors alike to wear a face mask when in public spaces to prevent the spread of the coronavirus. The campaign, which promotes the personal, economic, health, and social benefit associated with the proper and continued wearing of face masks, has attracted the support of top government officials, business operators, community leaders, groups, organizations, and individuals. Well, one of its key stakeholders, that of the Minister of Health, the Right Honorable Health Minister Nicholas Steele, and the campaign is fully endorsed by the Prime Minister. The Protect, Respect, Always Wear Your Mask COVID-19 campaign, preventative campaign, would utilize posters, flyers, videos, social media, as well as public and private transportation to ensure that its very important public health message of mask wearing is spread throughout the state of Grenada. Folks, do what you have to do. Yeah? Do what we have to do. Peace and love. JC loves you. I leave you here for now until we link again at the top of the hour. Immediately, that's at 8 o'clock. There's going to be a bulletin of news from the BBC. Then we have an interlude of music for the next hour between 8 and 9. Folks, be good to yourself. Be good to yourself. Reminding you that what yesterday's gone is the past. Tomorrow is the future. It is yet to come. Enjoy the gift of today. It's a present. And presents, that's why it is called the gift. Enjoy it. Don't trouble yourself about yesterday, the things you have no control over. And again, and before I leave, I'm going to remind you of one of the thoughts for the day. A child can teach an adult 3 things in life: to be happy for no reason, to always be busy with something, and to know how to demand with all his might that which he desires. A thought for today. As we say, so long, farewell, goodbye for now. JC loves you. Continue to be good to yourself. I'm out of here.